Well, it
Trivia left. All right.
is our favorite time of the week. If you don't have anything else to do on a Tuesday night, welcome back to This Week in College Football. As always, my name is Red5478, and it is a pleasure to be back with you all again this evening. As literally we're coming on the air, there has been a ton, I mean a fuck ton of developments in and around college football. Before I say anything else, let me just go ahead and just introduce to you all two very good friends of mine. To my right, we have a good friend of the channel, Alan Aneto III on YouTube as well. Make sure you all give him a follow. He makes some good shit on his channel. Appreciate you stopping by filling in for Akbar this week as he is
Always. Much
currently
appreciated.
drowning himself in all the liquor he could possibly get his hands on. Because good Lord, boomer sooner, no sir. But also our resident Zippy to my bottom and your front from the legendary school of Akron, Ohio. Greg Rubber Duck, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well. I wouldn't say Akron's that legendary. We're
It's
just local.
legendary on this channel. I got to make another stream of that here soon. I just haven't had time. Anyway, boys, as always, if you got something to say, shout down the chat. And Daniel Salazar joining us. How you doing, my friend? Matt7397. Everybody seems to be doing just fine. We're all living, breathing, and talking football. Ain't nothing better than that, is there? So
Nope,
we're
not
going
at
to go
all.
ahead and get into it. Self-reflection time, as is tradition on this channel. We're going to open up real quick and just go ahead and just reflect upon the weekend that was college football for our teams. Now,
Hmm.
um, Alan, your team didn't play this weekend. Your Oregon Ducks were on the bye.
Yep, we were. We actually moved up a couple spots, I do believe, in the rankings after the bye somehow. Okay. We're eighth. We're in the top 10. I'll take it. But yeah, no, we were on a bye after beating the shit out of Oregon State. So, you know, we got to salivate on that for a little bit. Salivate on that beaver meat. Okay, pause. And now we get to go
Sure.
take on the UCLA
Wait, well,
Bruins.
what the fuck? We're not even 5 minutes into the stream, bro. Bro, there's got to be a record on this show. It's got to be a fucking record, I swear. Because here's the thing: when it's Akbar on here, and he's not nearly as unhinged as I am, so it kind of balances, right? I'm able to kind of simmer down, and he's able to even come up a level, and it kind of balances out. But I bring you two fucking ye who's in here, and it's all over already.
Don't bring me into this.
I blame you for everything, Duck.
For what?
Well, let's just
What
start with the
did I
fucking Akron stream,
do?
why don't we? Anyway, we're way off topic now. All
Yes,
right, so
let's get
please
As I was
continue.
saying, so we have to go play a 1-2 UCLA squad whose only win is a 16-13 week 0 victory over Hawaii. And then they proceeded to get their asses stomped against Indiana and lost by half and scored half the points, exactly half the points that that LSU put on them last week in a 34-17 L. So at this point, UCLA should be getting their shit stomped by Oregon if we are that good.
Hmm.
Now, what I'm hoping for is that Dylan Gabriel was able to play a little more in practice, get more acclimated to the guys on the squad, because that seemed to be the issue in the first 2 weeks. Is that the offense was sluggish, a little sloppy, and that and I get it. He's a quarterback transferring it out of the aforementioned Oklahoma. So, he's got to transition from Boomer Sooner to Duckville, and I understand that. But considering, And it's not going to be an exact replica of what it was last year with Bo Nix. I get it. But still, I mean,
Yeah, you guys are definitely
Mhm.
looking pretty good right now. I think you'll be able to take care of UCLA fairly quick.
oh my
Yeah.
Doc,
God.
how are your Zippies doing?
If you have to ask that question, it does not
I'm
matter
asking the
anymore.
fucking question.
I'm saying
Michigan,
if
Kent
you have to
State.
ask that question, it does not matter. But of course, the Akron Zips, they went down to Dodgerland, aka Columbia, South Carolina. They got their asses kicked by South Carolina, 50-7, and giving Red some PTSD. But of course, Carolina was going to find a way to respond after almost pulling out a win against LSU. But holy crap. Yeah. I knew Akron was going to lose, but holy shit. 50-7.
Yeah.
Ben Finley, of course, he had 110 yards. He did have a touchdown, but he also threw a pick. But
Well,
there's nothing that
well,
the Zips could have done.
hey, look at it this way. When I played against South Carolina in NCAA football or college football 25, I lost like 89 to nothing. So
Yeah, it was bad. I
if
remember
you look at
watching
it
that
like
game.
that, if you remember that, and then you look at that game, your Zips did pretty good
Yeah,
because they didn't have me coaching them.
I guess you could. I guess you could say that. I think
Yep.
that he gained more yards than you with 154 yards. This ain't much, but this was a
Uh,
game. They scored just before halftime, and they couldn't do anything after that. And
yep.
yeah, there's not much else to say. It's Akron, but fortunately for them, they do. I'm not sure if it's fortunate or unfortunate, but they do start conference play this week. They'll be traveling down to Athens to take on Ohio. They're currently at 2-2. They do have wins over South Alabama, one of the Sun Belt schools, and they managed to beat their FCS opponent unlike a certain state, unlike a certain non-state in Portage County. They beat Morgan State 21-6. But hopefully Akron can look at this conference schedule and be like, okay, what can we do? Let's try to be we're not going to be the best, but let's try not to be the worst.
I mean, you're
That's
coming into the conference slate with 2 wins. I mean, that's a win on its own, right?
yeah.
Not to mention South Alabama. I mean, shit, they threw up 89 opponents on their FCS opponent. They threw up 89 points on their FCS opponent the week after they lost to Akron.
Mm-hmm.
So they definitely let out some frustration on that week after losing to poor old Zippy. As for Ohio State, I'm going to keep my remarks brief because the game sure as shit was not. It was a long one for me. Good Lord. Slow start, good finish. We let Marshall hang around a little too long for my liking. It was like 28-14 at the half, which I know entitled Buckeye fan. I'm also a Bengal fan to keep my ass humble. Don't ask me about last night. Um, the the defense definitely wasn't looking as great as it could. The offense was kind of sputtering at times, but once we got going in the second half, it was quite all right. It's not going to be the way you need to do things going forward as we go into our first conference game against Sparty on Saturday night. I'm not dreading it. We're going to win, I think, but there's also just the
Yeah.
thought of like, yeah, well, we're doing pretty good, but we're not playing as well as we should. And then I look at what Alabama did, and I look at what Georgia did, and I'm comforted by the fact that wow, Texas did beat the shit out of Michigan. We got a good chance to win this year.
Yeah, but as long as the kicker doesn't do 3 straight kicks out of bounds, we should be okay.
Tex Mitch, first off, welcome back. It's good to see you again. I know you haven't been here for a minute. Second,
Mhm.
don't ask. Okay, I don't fucking know. And then Zeppi on Twitch. Bad loss is a bad loss, but it's worse if we're frustrating close. If it were a frustrating close game, a couple of questionable decisions led to agony. Zips, just take the check. Prepare for your boogeyman in Ohio.
I wouldn't say
We'll be talking
Ohio's our
about taking
boogeyman.
checks
We
later
have
on.
plenty of
You stay
boogeyman.
tuned for that.
Ooh,
Sorry,
well,
sorry, Doug.
Doug, please respond to that.
Well, I couldn't hear. He was too busy interrupting me. What would you say?
Sorry.
No. Go ahead. What were you saying?
Talking to
Who,
you,
me or him?
Alan.
Oh,
Alan.
me.
Talking to
No.
you.
Oh no, I was just referring to the fact that we'll be talking about taking checks later on. It had nothing to do with Akron. It has to do with another game. We'll get to that later. Brad knows what I'm talking about.
Moving
I know what you're
on.
talking about. All right, so self-reflection time is over. Let's go ahead and get going now. First off, probably the biggest news story this evening, and that has been the last couple of evenings. 1, 2, 3, 4. Holy shit! Conference war. Pac-12 and Mountain West are absolutely at each other's throats. With Pac-12 just doing Caesar Simulator by stabbing everybody, having everybody stab the Mountain West in the back, I should say, including last night when the Mountain West turned to their friend Utah State and said, "It too, Utah State," and then just slashed their neck. Jesus Christ. This is insanity. It's honest to God insanity. Like, I don't know where, like, I wanted to start off talking about Tennessee and their dominant performance, but literally, I don't know what else we can say right now except what the actual fuck is going on in the western half of the United States. So I'm going to kind of, for those of you that have not been following, let me give you a chance to follow. So obviously, a couple weeks ago, and I made a quick video about this on my channel. If you haven't seen it, it's already dated. So cool. Pac-12 added 4 schools for the Mountain West: Boise State, Colorado State, San Diego State, and
Fresno
who the
State.
fuck was Fresno State? Thank you. So they added those 4 schools the other week. They're going to start playing full-time conference members in 26, not next season, the season after that. Okay, but rumors have begun to circulate, and they were not rumors. They were either proven to be false, they were proven and then became fact. There was rumors that the AAC was about to get a bunch of teams poached. USF, Texas San Antonio, Tulane, Memphis. They were all supposedly rumored to be potentially joining the Pac-12. The AAC announced the other day that that was unequivocally false, that they would stay. But then rumors began to circulate that Air Force is
Can't
skipping
forget
town.
I was gonna say that as well.
Yeah,
Air Force.
that Air Force is going to skip town. Air Force says, no, we're going to stay in the Mountain West. But then, all of a sudden, Utah State, UNLV, they become new members of the Pac-12. Right now, the only team we know for sure is Utah State. They are all but confirmed from a lawsuit that's currently going on because guess who's suing? Who's the suing party now? The Pac-12 is suing the Mountain West over penalty fees as of today.
Yep.
Because the exit fee, the penalty fees, not the fees of having these schools terminate their contracts early. The penalty fees are somewhere in the ballpark of $43 million that the Pac-12 have to pay the Mountain West right now, as it stands. Okay, and then it's like another $17 million per team on top of the for just exiting to the Pac-12. So you throw all that together, Pac-12 is currently on the hook for well over $150 million, which they got in a war chest that they obtained from their lawsuits with the NCAA and with the 10 members of the Pac-12 that fucked off in the middle of the night last year. But still, that's a lot of goddamn money. And once you start getting closer to that 18 mark, you're starting to quickly run out of money. And this is just another step in the chapter. I was going to share something as well that came to my attention earlier today. Because again, this has been all just nonstop news after news after news. So I'm trying to give everybody the full picture here before we go and just give our own thoughtful takes on it. The Mountain West Commissioner came out basically today saying, we were trying to help the Pac-12, their student athletes, in a very tough spot, and they betrayed us, stabbed us in the back in the middle of the night, and stole some of our programs from underneath of us. I love it. It's fucking drama. It's Group of 5 realignment chaos. Now, Alan.
So I want to also add from an article that I found discussing all this shit, they did add Gonzaga on the basketball side as well. So
Okay.
Gonzaga is headed to the
Oh.
Pac-12 as well. And as everyone knows, Gonzaga is one of the top basketball powerhouses. So I don't want to say powerhouse per se, but they're usually at or near the top as of
They are one
the
of the
last couple
biggest.
years.
They are one of the biggest
So
names.
there is that. Pretty much everything Red says, pretty much what I have written down from all of that. But then later on, and ahead of all this, there's now been another update. Apparently, UConn. Yeah,
I
you
saw
heard that
something
right.
on that.
UConn, according to the Hartford Courant, is in talks to says Utah. Yeah, fuck. UConn talks to join Pac-12 included discussion about Huskies as a football-only member. Initially, full-time membership also discussed, and according to Yahoo Sports. So we run to that article real quick because Yahoo Sports is not behind a paywall. Thank you very much. According to Ross Dellinger, UConn has had talks with the Pac-12 about joining the conference. According to Dellinger, the Huskies initially had a conversation with the conference about joining as a football. God fucking damn it. You
Slow down.
mother. God damn it. Nope, it
Just-
is a paywall bullshit. Fuck.
Okay. Well, we get the point, though. We get the
We get the
point. You don't
point.
have to. What's your reaction to this one, man? Like, seriously, what is your reaction to this, Alan? Like, we know the facts now. The Pac-12 has decided to go full evil villain now. They were
Mhm.
originally like the prodigal son returning, only to quickly become a parasite in the group of five, sucking away
They
all
are-
these teams.
They are the Vegas Golden Knights, a team that starts out as an underdog. Everyone loves them. They go on this insane fucking run, the way that Vegas did to the Stanley Cup final in year one. But then it's quickly realized they will do whatever it fucking takes to get back there, including basically shipping off players for nothing and all this other shit. And stabbing people in the back, like beloved NHL player Marc-Andre Fleury, for example, among others. And then everybody fucking hates them because it's Las Vegas. What the fuck do you expect? The Pac-12 has turned into that. They fell apart. They're they're now the underdog trying to build themselves back up. And now they've decided, you know what? We're not going to wait. We're going to go scorch earth on everybody. And the other conferences like, not this shit again. God damn it.
Doc.
Let's be real. I'm glad that the Pac-12 is trying its best to basically be back to its former glory, but it's going to take a very, very long time. Getting those 4 Mountain West teams is a start in Boise State, Fresno State, Colorado State, San Diego State, and now you're trying to go after Utah State. You actually got them. But if you look, I've been looking at the community posts as well, but you're trying to go after Memphis, USF, and UTSA and Tulane. Now, Memphis and Tulane are projected to be the favorites for the Americans, so they should. So those should be 2 really good. Those 2 would have been really good gets if you managed to actually actually strike the deal. But now you're trying to get UNLV, Nevada, and San Jose State into this, and also Air Force, which of course they said Air Force, no, we're not doing it. And I don't blame Mountain West. They also want to try to survive because now the Mountain West is starting to become in the Pac-12 shoes. So it's very, very interesting. But now
Yeah.
the Pac-12 is starting to turn
question.
into the AAC itself with not 1, but 2, with 1 team on the opposite coast. But UConn, of all teams, look, I know they're independent. They're looking for a conference, but really, that's the best you can get?
Yeah, UConn.
Like, you already
please
got
get off the
Stanford
track.
and Cal. You still have more than enough time to try to change their mind. But I'm glad. But honestly, it's amazing to see that the Pac-12 is doing everything within their power to try to stay alive here. And as you mentioned, and Alan, I like your comparison with the Vegas Golden Knights. That's not the Vegas Golden Knights. Hell knows no fury like the wrath of a woman scorned, and the woman is definitely in the Pac-12. She's bitchy and she's ready to go. She's ready to go, man.
Fair enough.
Oh
fair
man,
enough,
that's
fair
a hell of a one-liner, Duck. I love it. Yes, sir. Yeah, revenge is a bitch, isn't it? Good Lord. Max is popping off over here in chat talking about UConn. Texas Mitch is also talking about UConn. I agree with your sentiments. UConn would be a great pickup for basketball because you got to remember
Women's
these are not
basketball.
just
women's
women's
because the men's
basketball
team ain't
and men's basketball. The men's basketball team did just win the Natty a couple years back. So anyway,
yeah,
um,
fair. Sorry.
And
I you damn it, you're going to get the Pac-12 whether you want it or not. Look, UConn's currently an independent, so of course that means that they're going to get some interest. They don't have anybody else wanting to add them. Fuck, UMass is even joining the MAC in a couple years, so like there's not much really nowhere else for UConn to really go at this point. It's either they get into a conference or they relegate themselves to FCS because they're quickly reaching that point. Being an independent in today's college football is extremely expensive. It is very, very tough because it's not like everybody can do what Notre Dame does. You know what I mean? Notre Dame has an NBC contract worth hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars. The national TV exposure is a great recruiting driver, and not to mention their university is one of the more prestigious in the country because of football. But I'll save that for my Notre Dame roast that I'm still working.
spoiler
The thing
alert.
about it, the thing about UConn is every time they schedule an opponent, if they got to go there, that's money they got to pay. If they want to get on TV, that's money they got to pay. If they want to do anything football related, they are paying money. And unfortunately, they're in the what conference right now for basketball currently? Big East, right?
Big East.
yeah, something like
Yeah.
that. I think.
Big East no longer has football, so they're fucked because of that. So the only way that they are going to be able, yeah, Slick Drake, I got up at 12 school within 20 hours of away. Good Lord, yeah. The only way that UConn is going to survive deep into the future is if they get their asses in bed with a conference. The Americans now come calling. The fucking MAC doesn't want them. Damn sure the Big Ten, the ACC, the Big 12, SEC, nobody wants them. Conference USA, maybe, but they're an FCS conference pretending to be an FBS one at this point. So,
Damn.
so I don't think that the UConn deal would be right for UConn
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they would be traveling across the country to play all of their fucking games. It's not like, oh, well, they're just going to be one. It's not like they'll just partner up with somebody else. No. Who the fuck are they going to bring with them? UMass? They're going to the MAC.
Mm-hmm.
Temple? Why the fuck would anybody pick up Temple right now? The only thing that's worth a shit on that team is their kicker. So this whole nonsense with UConn just makes it's a fun rumor, and it's gonna generate headlines and cause people to freak out, but I'm not buying it at all. I'm not buying it worth a fuck. It's so out of bounds for where the Pac-12 could actually procure. I mean, I thought USF being scouted was insane, but at least they would have had possibly Memphis to come with them, right? This is a standalone. You're literally not even the Brooklyn Dodgers when they went to Los Angeles went alone. They brought the Giants with them to San Francisco. You got to have a buddy for this kind of crap, and if you don't, you're gonna run out of money quicker than shit.
Yeah,
So
who are you gonna bring with you? UMass? Good fucking
no,
luck.
yeah, then that's not even the fucking. They're not even in the talks at this point. So
Yeah.
this is what I see happening. Okay, this is the genuine article that I see what happening here, and you guys. We'll debate this for a good minute here because I honestly think this is what's going to fucking turn into. Sacramento State, the FCS team, they're probably going to get a call up, I think, when this whole thing is said and done. either by
Totally.
the Pac-12 or by the Mountain West. They're going to get called up. They have been very vocal in wanting to make that leap to FBS. So because of that, not to mention they're a national power, they're ranked in the top 25 in FCS land. No shit. Like you're going to, of course, get them, added in there. It's an easy call if you're the Mountain West or if you're the Pac-12. Now, I could see Hawaii possibly making the jump to the Pac-12 for one reason only. Depends on what the money's looking like for the TV deal.
Yeah.
If they right now the Pac-12 is on the CW. Now the CW, it's not the biggest cable network, but it is a national cable
It is a
network.
national.
Right now, if you want to watch Hawaii football, you better live in Hawaii and be watching on Spectrum, or you download a free app to watch them fucking play. The TV deal for the Mountain West and Hawaii is basically non-existent. So getting them into the Pac-12 for at least the CW TV deal, which, by the way, right now it's a very short-term deal, not a lot of money in it, but you add all these extra schools in, it's going to make it a lot of money, a lot more worth it.
Whole lot
And
more.
CW
So-
should be making money anyway because they just got the Xfinity Series from NASCAR and WWE NXT.
CW is
are
making a
making-
strong
CW is
push.
making fucking moves, and I
Yeah.
respect the hell out of it.
They're trying to do what UPN couldn't in the early 2000s and become a true national network that was worth a shit.
Mm-hmm.
And they're off to a good start, but we'll see what happens with them. Another team that should be making the jump at this point, UNLV. Just
Yeah.
fucking go at this point. And if that happens, they're done. Mountain West fucked. There's no way that they survive if UNLV
Yeah.
leaves, which is shit to say because if I said that 5 years ago, I'd be like, fuck them. Yeah, no, don't fuck them now. Good Lord. Isn't UNLV making the move to the Pac-12 without Nevada? Something about them being a bundle deal? Yeah, apparently they're trying to because right now, Nevada and UNLV, they're supposed to be a package deal. Kind of like how Arizona and Arizona State were a package deal for the Big 12. They should be because University of Nevada and the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, they're ran by the same regencies. They're ran by the same ultimate leadership, to my knowledge. Again, like how Arizona State, and Northern Arizona, I might add, is also in that triangle there. But again, they weren't involved in this. So I'm pretty sure that's how it's operating. UNLV's trying to make the move to go solo because Nevada's not really wanted by the Pac-12. And if that were to happen, that would be another crutch, which, by the way, I'm going to also make this very clear. As it stands right now, both the Mountain West Conference and the Pac-12 Conference each have 7 teams. And in 2026, right now, neither team would qualify to be an NCAA conference at this moment in 2026. So they're literally cannibalizing each other. And it's going to get to a point where, honestly, FCS teams are going to be getting the call to save their own skins. Like, if you're the Pac-12, you could call up Sac State now, get them to start the process now, and then have them start doing conference play on a year of probation in 26. If you're the Mountain West, you got an extra year before all this shit hits the fan to maybe call up, like Matt I was about to say, the Dakota schools, maybe Montana State as well, and get their asses to the Mountain West and create what somebody said, the snow belt. North Dakota. Yeah.
That was some funny shit.
Yeah, you shared that with me earlier. That was pretty good. I liked that a lot. So here's the only thing that I keep hearing feedback on. You guys can tell me if this is bullshit or not. Is that North Dakota State may not have any interest joining FBS? Do you think there's any smoke to that fire?
Honestly, considering the fact of that they're at or near the top of FBS constantly, I don't blame them because you have recruit. It's a lot of it comes down to like recruiting pipelines, the chance of being a top team. And North Dakota State's proven they can get guys drafted. Remember, Trey Lance, for all the bullshit, he did go in the top 5. Carson Wentz was literally the number 2 pick behind Jared Goff. Now that's easier. Now shit fucking happens, but like
doesn't matter. He still got there.
It doesn't matter, but like it's every once in a blue moon that sort of thing can happen. So I feel like North Dakota State, they are more than willing to stay in the FBS and dominate and more or less be the gatekeeper, because that's the thing. You need teams to be the gatekeeper from FCS to FBS. At the same time, I'd be more than happy to see a few FCS schools get moved up, and teams like UConn, UMass, and a few of these other shitty ass FBS teams get dropped to FCS and say, you're not coming back until you get your shit together. But you need to have a gatekeeper.
Doug,
Mhm.
what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with Alan with North Dakota State being a gatekeeper, but South Dakota State could also join them with being gatekeepers. I think the Dakotas will be sitting alone and pretty at the top of FCS, and of course Montana and Montana State, they're going to be looking at this and like, no, I think we still want to stay competitive, but there's still going to be plenty of offers in the future because sports is the gift that keeps on giving. It creates content nearly every single second. But yeah, as far as right now goes, I think it's still going to be a long while before the Pac-12 and Mountain West do find their eighth team. Because as you mentioned, 7x7 right now, neither of these conferences were going to be legal by 2026. But there's still more than enough time. College football is a very magical place. You have no idea what's going to come out at any point at any time. We'll just see what happens. But right now, I think the Dakotas and Montanas are staying put.
Yeah. By the way, I want to point this out because I just said fuck it and looked at the rankings. The top 10 in FCS right now: South Dakota State, North Dakota State, Montana State, Idaho, South Dakota make up the top 5. Montana's 8th, North Dakota's 9th, and Sacramento State is 10th. The only two teams not from that region in the top 10 are Villanova and Central Arkansas, sitting 6th and 7th. They have a stranglehold on the FBS. And the only one of them that's undefeated is Montana State. But then again, remember, North Dakota State, they lost to Colorado. And, and some of the other teams have probably lost to other FBS schools. I'd look it up right now, but I'm not going to. Point
Right.
is, they
Yeah.
they are the gatekeepers for a reason.
Yeah.
Also, by
So,
the way, point this out: UNH is in the top 25 as well. Go New Hampshire. Anyway, moving on.
so I went ahead because somebody asked, it was Matt's, that there was a possible vote to upgrade North Dakota State's Fargo Dome to FBS level. It was on the ballot in December last year and it failed. There is a new vote that is on the ballot this year for a quarter-cent sales tax increase for the dome. However, I'm looking at an article here from WCFG, The Flag, an AM radio station from the local area. And then it's basically nothing more than a tax measure that will shit. Basically, it's going to update a conference center at the stadium. It does not include anything in here that says that they would be renovating it to the point where it would get them up to an FBS level per se. Club seating could be added, new video displays. I don't see a massive increase in attendance. I don't know what the fuck their attendance even is there. If somebody can look that up for me, that'd be great. There is a ballot that was announced a month ago that was going to be on the ballot, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be a stadium that will be at FBS levels. Frankly, I think it's damn close to it already because it's a fucking dome. And it's not a small thing either. I opened it up. I thought, oh, it's a nice little convention center. What's this have to do with the state? Oh, that is the stadium. Fuck. Okay, and it's huge. It's not a little place. I kind of guess it's probably capacity 20,000 at least. That's
Well,
not
right
I mean,
now the seating capacity for football is
I was
18,700.
gonna say it had to be in that range. Hawaii's temporary stadium is like 16,000, and they're playing there for at least another 4 years until the Aloha Stadium is rebuilt, which don't get me started there. They might not survive past 2028 if their stadium's not fully redone. Yeah, so either way, uh, I would say at 18,700, yeah, it's small, but that's also like you could go ahead and play FBS there, considering a couple other teams play in front of crowds that big anyway. That's just me though. Now the final thought I have on this whole mess is if I was if you are a fan of a team in the Mountain West or it's now going to be in the Pac-12, this is not over. There is going to be a ton more reshuffling and movement happening over the next week. Shit, over the next few days, honestly. And this is not the end of it. I'm not making any update to this until we know where we're looking like. The lawsuit's going to complicate things incredibly,
Do you think
especially when
at
it
this
comes to
point they
fees
won't
and exit
merge?
fees. No, they're not merging now. Like that bridge is burned, man. Like if they were going to merge, they would the Pac-12 would not be plucking teams out left, right, and center if they were looking for a merger. And I don't think, and I honestly do feel bad for the Mountain West because this was a risk that they took to try and assist a fledgling conference, and it unfortunately backfired because this conference was looking at one thing and one thing only. You know, the old saying on this channel, money talks, bullshit walks. What's going to get you more money? Have your own conference with a national TV deal? Yeah, it makes sense. So, with that, we're going to go ahead and move on to our next subject. Thanks again, everybody, for being here. If you like what we're doing, like, subscribe, comment. If you comment, I'll do my best to share it on the screen. And we will now resume actual football and not alternate conference play with Sooners Volunteers tribute to the fucking Volunteers. Good Lord. Nico, just absolutely torched the Sooners. Oh God, I checked on Akbar fan the other night when during the game, and I was about to message him, and he messaged me back. I'm like, oh, you're still living. That's good. Because I thought he was going to be dead. We kind of knew coming into that game that Oklahoma was looking kind of rough. They weren't looking like a dominant powerhouse. Meanwhile, Tennessee is steamrolling teams left, right, and center from your, lowly Kent States to your actually decent NC States. Matt, our local resident volunteer fan, saying it was a beautiful thing to see in a way, except all the crimson wasn't paint, it was blood by the end of the game. God. Doc, what was your takeaway on that massacre on Saturday night?
Let's be real. The scoreboard is a lot closer than the whole game was. Because if you look at the total, because if you look at the box score and whatever app you use, Tennessee basically dominated time possession with nearly 35 minutes. They got nearly 350 yards. They were torching. They were like, or should I say, running over the Sooners left and right, because passing yards were actually really close with 194 to 186. The running game is what helped Tennessee in the long run, no pun intended. But Oklahoma did have 4 fumbles. 2 of them turned into turnovers, and there was hardly any. If you needed to beat one of the top teams in Tennessee, you needed to play mistake-free football, and unfortunately, Oklahoma made one mistake too many. And that's how Tennessee ended up getting the win. They tried to come back, but it was just too little, too late. Once they were down 22-3, there was nothing they could do.
Pretty much.
Alan?
I mean, I think that the vibe from Tennessee fans that I've seen, because I follow a few who are Tennessee fans who are in the NASCAR community, and I think the vibe pretty much was that should have been more of a blowout than it was. But you take the win however you can get it, and I think for the most part they're pretty happy about it. Um, my God, Matt's, we hit an OU player so hard legally, mind you, that our defensive back got. How the fuck do you do that? Genuinely,
I
how?
wanted to hurt my man. I wanted to hurt the man so bad I hurt myself.
Yeah, it's crazy.
God. I was trying to reassure Akbar these last 3 weeks leading up to the game that it was going to be okay. The Sooners are not what he thought was weak looking. Like, oh, you beat up on endangered owls. I mean, you did pretty good. You won by this many touchdowns. Like, it's okay. He knew something I didn't. He fucking knew. He could feel it in his Sooner Schooner blood that this was not going to end well. And my God, I hate to admit that he was right. Good God. Nico Iamaleava is an absolute force as a quarterback. He is a redshirt freshman, folks. Freshman. He's going to be a problem for the SEC for at least 2 more years, minimum. Like, this is Boomer Sooner, the wagon is on fire. Yeah, you're goddamn right. I
Wagon's
mean,
getting tipped over like it did some years ago.
good God Almighty, that thing wrecked harder than. No, I'm not gonna say that joke.
Yeah, don't say it. Don't say it. I know you. Don't say those jokes.
The quarterback play was interesting. The losing quarterback went 11-18, 132 yards and a touchdown. Winning quarterback went 13 of 21 for 194 yards and a touchdown. Huh. Yeah. You can go ahead and thank the wide receiver core for Tennessee on that one. That's how you explain that. Now, I watched this game, and the one thing that was jumping out to me was this. It's not like Tennessee was this just great team. They are a really, really good team. Don't get me wrong. Nico is still doing freshman rookie mistakes. And I got to check something while I'm talking. He's still doing freshman rookie mistakes. And because of that, I feel like that while Tennessee is looking very good, fuck, they could even make it all the way to Atlanta this season and be in the SEC championship game. Nico is not ready for that big of a stage yet. The team around him is good, but it's not good enough to win a conference championship in the SEC. Make the playoffs? Oh, certainly. Sure. Yeah, you can easily say they could make it into the playoffs as a 8 through 12, but or as a 6 through a 5 through 12 seed or whatever. But if you're asking me about conference championship, nah. They'll trip up against Alabama, or they'll trip up against Georgia, or they'll trip up against Texas. It could be a sea of orange in Atlanta come this December. Texas versus Tennessee, the battle of the UTs. Who the fuck's to say at this point?
I'd like to point out they're on a bye week this week. They don't
Oh
they
yeah.
play again October 12th against Florida. Then they get Alabama on the 19th. They don't play again until the 2nd of November against Kentucky, then Mississippi State, and then Georgia before finishing out against UTEP and Vanderbilt. So they play both Georgia and Alabama this year. So if I was them, I would be studying that matchup this week because they play each other. So
I think that it kind of comes down to you look at the remaining
that's
schedule for
not what
Tennessee,
the
you're
fuck
absolutely
I
right.
what sorry, Billy is trying to correct me, saying that you guys played Arkansas. Hold on, give me a minute.
Well, either way, there's not that many big games for Tennessee left at this point. OU was the first of 3 really big games. They don't play
Oh
Texas
shit,
this
yep,
year on
you're
the
right.
regular season schedule.
Sorry, Yahoo Sports
So,
lied to me.
God damn it, hang on. I'm still here, by the way. I'm just dealing with
Pretty
some
good.
bullshit behind the scenes. No, I think that if you're a Tennessee fan, you're looking at the rest of the schedule, you're probably thinking to yourselves, "Holy shit, this is relatively almost a cakewalk. We got to play Alabama and we got to play Georgia, yes, but at the same time, we get Alabama, get another bye week, and then play Georgia after that. After we got 2 bye weeks in between Bama and Georgia. Oh man, you're guaranteed to almost be fresh for those. And I think that they'll win at least one of those games. I don't know who they'll win against. Both of those games are going to be absolutely barn burners, and those could very well determine the fate of the conference. And wow, hot take. Ole Miss wins the SEC. Damn,
Ooh.
really? Are you guys seeing anything out of Ole Miss? No, I'm not.
That's a fucking scorcher.
That it is. I'm not sure if it's Carolina Reaper hot or Pepper X hot.
Hmm. I don't know. Ole Miss has been real quiet. Maybe it's just because their schedule early on was nothing notable, and they've just been taking care of business. But like, it's been quiet out of Mississippi right now for the more rebels. And I don't. Let me see here. Oh, Matt's has Georgia on the regular season.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
Kentucky almost just beat Georgia. Georgia is beatable. And Alabama needs to take advantage of that this week, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah, we'll get to that later for sure. Doc, anything else you want to add to this, my friend?
For Tennessee or what?
For Tennessee and Oklahoma.
For Tennessee, Oklahoma, I think I already said my piece because Oklahoma does start against Auburn, while Tennessee does have a bye to try to work things out. But Oklahoma has a whole lot of issues that they have to work on because 3 turnovers, you deserve to lose. So I have to say.
All right. Moving on. Meanwhile, in Ann Arbor, USC got mauled by a couple of Wolverines. It wasn't really a mauling. I'm not going to say, I don't know if that's the right term, but USC definitely lost a tough one against Michigan on Saturday. I'm just going to make this abundantly clear. I think Michigan is definitely not a bad team, and that hurts me to say. But they are definitely not the team that they used to be. If it was any other season, we wouldn't be dealing with this kind of crap out of Michigan, where they are cutting it down to the wire against USC, who, while they did beat a very fraudulent LSU team week 1, they still have some issues to work out themselves rebuilding after losing their top quarterback. So, and the transition to the Big Ten is going to be a tough one for them too. But I mean, it was a hard fought win. USC kind of shat the bed late in the game and gave up a bunch of big plays that I honestly shouldn't have. And that's kind of what it came down to, is who was getting the ball last, who was going to make the most big plays. Michigan in the end made the most big plays. And ultimately, that's why they won.
1 yard short.
Yeah. I mean, did you catch any of this game on Saturday? What were your thoughts on it?
So I was basically following along on Twitter while I was waiting at an independent wrestling show Saturday night. But so I saw some things basically, but yeah, I mean, just based on what I've that comment.
God dang it.
But yeah, no, I mean, and the other thing too, that as we mentioned, Oklahoma and USC both losing on their new conference debuts, basically getting beat by the team that's been there. USC, they should be fine in theory. I don't know how much they have to worry about, but you probably would have wanted to win that game because Michigan, they've already lost to Texas. If they lose to USC, no playoff hopes for you. And I don't care that it's 12 teams. That's 2 losses to ranked teams in pretty much big early season matchups. That matters. And Michigan still has to play Oregon. They still have to play Ohio State, I'm pretty sure. So like Michigan could have been a team with like 4 or 5 losses this year, but they're probably gonna walk away with like 2 or 3 at this rate. Y'all have Donald Duck because fuck off. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck
All right.
you. Anyway. But also USC's quarterback finished with 283 yards, 28-3. But done. The curse lives.
Illogical, turn your head right now.
Oh,
You know
God.
what makes it logical? Perk his ears up more. Joe Hendry or 28-3, or 2
Fuck
tight
off.
ends.
Fuck off. Duck, how did you feel about this game?
Well, I will be honest. I only caught like the end of it when Michigan pulled off a last-second TD with 37 seconds left. I knew we were hoping for a good game between two in the middle of the top 25 teams, and we got just that. USC, welcome to Big Ten football. Michigan did have a 14-0 lead at one point, and then they coughed up 2 fumbles in the second half, but they did manage to get it together and they pulled off the win. And so Michigan did have to make a lot of adjustments, especially having I hate to say it, Red, but I have to, 2 tight ends creating a 7-man offensive line. But USC was trying everything.
Get off my fucking stage.
Billy, also my promo for Florida is old school ECW.
Let me in, dipshit. Try not to wake my mom up. I did. I gave you a warning.
I don't give a shit.
Fuck you then. But USC they did at least try to hold on to the lead, but Michigan, unfortunately, they have Magic Pixie Dust up there in Ann Arbor. That's how they came up with a win. And Lincoln Riley, they did say that they were about 1 play short, and it didn't help that USC receiver Makai Lemon left in the first quarter after taking that huge hit. So USC, they did play competitive, and they will have another chance of beating Big Ten football in Wisconsin. Unfortunately, Wisconsin's going to be playing pretty pissed off. And Michigan gets to host Minnesota on Saturday, so that should be a good one. But for now, unfortunately, we have to hear Michigan fans throughout this whole week, and I'm not sure if I'm ready.
No, I don't want to hear from a fucking person from Michigan either. But I got family that lives there, so I hear from all the time. Anyway, moving on. Colorado, you lucky fucks. What in the hell was that game Saturday night? So we had a little old school classic, always been around, Big 12 after dark. Only it was not Big 12 versus Big 12. It was actually no, it was. I was thinking it was Colorado State for some reason. We had Colorado going up against Baylor. Baylor rocketed out to a pretty good lead. I can't remember what the score was exactly at one point, but they had a multiple possession lead over the Buffaloes. And then as the game wound down, they kept on blowing opportunities to put it away. Colorado makes a couple of huge plays, including a absolute gem of a Hail Mary into the end zone to send the fucking game to overtime, resulting in the double overtime. Baylor trying to run it into the end zone. And I think it was Travis Hunter's helmet hit the football of the running backs right before they went into the end zone, which cost Baylor the game off of the fumble. An absolute insane, insane game that I was happy to watch. Because good God, that was extremely entertaining. Yeah. Okay, one thing I was going to say that's completely off topic as well, but I'm just going to go ahead and just kind of get a couple of people's reactions here. My computer decides to cooperate. Never mind. But one thing that Vol Bill pointed out in the chat was that they apparently Colorado was supposed to wear white for a whiteout, but Baylor brought their white uniforms, so they had to switch it out. And Zep, yes indeed, Baylor fucked the ball. They fucked that fucking ball. They fucked the ball so hard. It's 9 months pregnant by proxy. So
Okay,
it is. That's one of my favorite lines he's ever said. Shut the fuck up. Let me be a fan for a moment.
Oh yeah, it's so good.
Matt, you would be correct. This is the biggest win in the Prime era, specifically because it's the biggest comeback that they've had in the Prime era.
It's not though. It's not
really a comeback. It's not really a comeback per se.
It's not their biggest win in the Prime era. It's their biggest win this season. It's not their biggest win in the Prime era.
Yeah, the biggest win in the Prime era was their very first one against TCU.
Yeah, the one that everybody picked against them. Everybody picked TCU to win that game, and in the end, it just became the absolute shit show for the
Horned Frogs. Fantastic as time went on.
Well, yeah, everyone was picking them because TCU had just been in the fucking national championship game. I'll be getting their ass kicked.
Shit's on the table.
I'll be right back. I gotta grab dinner. Hold on. Pardon me for a second. Come in.
You're good. You're fine.
Ah, shit. Fuck. Shit. Fuck. Shit. Fuck. Fuck. Shit. Fuck.
Jesus, how many eggshells are in this damn room?
I know, right? What the fuck? Is he walking on Legos in there?
I don't know. Maybe. But in all fairness, that was a very, very fantastic game. I happened to be editing, but while I was watching it, and it was a great distraction from what I would call work for no pay.
I'm back. I'm back with food.
Good.
Hey, shut the fuck up. He was talking.
Yeah, sorry to steal the thunder. You can talk. You can talk after I'm finished. But yeah, what's crazy about that final play of regulation? Baylor had 100% chance of winning on ESPN. I am not joking. It literally said 1-0-0-0/0. 100%. And then in comes Sanders to freaking LeJontay Wester for that 43-yard Hail Mary. Everyone lost it. I thought it was one of the best plays we're going to see all year. And, of course, Colorado, they did get the win in overtime. And, of course, the game-sealing interception. Or actually, no, it's not an interception. It was a fumble into the end zone that went in for a touchback. But it was one of the most wild innings I've seen in a pretty long time. And, yeah, I think Colorado is finally starting to get their shit together. And the game proved it.
Indeed. Quick editor's note over here. My main computer crashed. That's why Zep's comment is still on the stage. Yeah, the reason why you're still able to hear me and talk to me right now is because I had the foresight of thinking my Wi-Fi is probably not working 100% tonight, so I'm just going to go ahead and you can see the blue light.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go ahead and have that operate separately off of my phone rather than risk it. And it was a good thing too, because otherwise I would be completely fucked right now. So
Mhm.
my computer's currently rebooting. That's why Zeph's comment is on the stage. That's why nobody else's comment's been highlighted. Just in case you guys were kind of like, damn, he usually is burning through these comments. How come he hasn't said shit about me? I think that this was a great win for Colorado. It gets them in position to potentially make a bowl game this year, which is ultimately the biggest step this team has to make right now. Is Matt, you make a good point there. The biggest win in the primary, you only have 7 of them right now. Yeah, that's true. The original one against TCU was the most impactful one, I think. But yeah, I think that this win for Colorado says two things. It says number one, Baylor needs to fire their head coach and they need to start over from scratch. It's not working in Baylor. They need to sick that coach and throw his ass into the dumpster quickly. Number two is
What do you mean, Baylor's 22?
Colorado. They're still trash.
Fair point.
Who the fuck are they beating?
Couldn't tell you. I'd have to look it up.
Stupid says every year or so, a couple of teams are back. 2 years ago, it was Texas. Last year it was Texas. Or sorry, 2 years ago it was Tennessee. Last year it was Texas and Missouri. Are Miami, Nebraska finally back?
Oh,
Well,
God.
since my laptop has decided to play Miss Seppuku, and I'm currently trying to revive it, I would not say that Nebraska is back yet. Dylan Raiola has a lot of maturing to do. For fuck's sake, he gets one comparison to Patrick Mahomes, and he starts acting like him, dressing like him, looking like a little Patrick Mahomes. Dude needs to man up a little bit there. Stop idolizing your hero so damn much on that big of a stage. It's the first thing. And you got to back it up too. You got to beat Illinois. How the fuck are you losing to Illinois? The fuck are you doing over there?
I mean, Illinois is the
My
19th ranked team in the nation, so
okay, but
they're
it's still
undefeated.
Illinois. Last time Illinois was relevant was the chaotic 2007 season. And when they retired their racist as shit mascot. But anyway, as for Miami, I would dare say that they are definitely back. The win that they had against um, Florida, I think, was pretty good proof positive that they can go into any state environment and win a game. They've been taking care of teams pretty effectively. I mean, they whipped Ball State like they stole something the other week or this past weekend. Cynical, they're back by that. I mean, back at choking games away. Yeah, no, that's not the case. That's not the case. I would say that it's definitely. I think Kane Ward's probably the best bet to win the Heisman right now. Honestly,
Zep.
yeah, yeah. Zep. Now, if Mario Cristobal doesn't forget to kneel a game away, Miami could be okay. Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't think he's ever going to forget that one the rest of his career or his
no,
life. There's
I was
no
gonna
bigger
say
mistake that you
that's
could have
more of
made.
And
a
Jim can swim. You have a point there, but that really just depends on the play of Cam Ward.
Yeah, if
Um,
you lose Cam Ward, the season's over. If you're the Hurricanes, protect him at all costs. Damn it. Okay, we can't stretch this out any longer. I'm waiting on my computer to finish rebooting itself. Wait,
hold on. Back to
wait.
Colorado. From my notes, what I would like to say is that they were down 14, made the comeback, of course, but you have the Hail Mary, but here and then Travis Hunter forcing the fumble at the goal line. But you gave up a 100-yard kick return touchdown to Baylor. And Shadur, who did throw for over 300 yards, also got sacked 8 times. This is their problem. They do not have an offensive line. And we've talked about this before, or you've talked about this with Akbar before. This is Colorado's problem. They need to build in the trenches, and they need to they can't fucking constantly recruit all the time or get from the trader portal. Excuse me, Jesus. You need continuity. Now, that will build over the season, but you needed to build that in the off season, and you haven't done that. And if I'm Dion, like a lot of people have said it, Dion should have stayed at Jackson State until Shadur and Travis graduated. He should have stayed there for a few years to get more of his coaching acumen together. Because really, he gets a couple seasons, like a year or two there, and then he jumps to Colorado, who was a bad program. So, yes, I think when the prime era in Colorado is done and whatever, regardless of what he does, he's brought them back to relevance. Sure. But you can only do so much with that without, and he needs to start, excuse me, needs to build continuity and get to a point where you can start winning titles. And that's not going to be for another year or two, at best, if you're lucky. And what's he going to do when Shadur and Travis both graduate and go to the NFL? Is he going to Is he going to follow them there? You know? By the way, my dad
All
makes
right.
sandwiches. Good shit.
Yeah. All right. Well, all right. We're going to kind of pick it up a little bit. We got a couple more topics left, and we're going to try to wrap this up reasonably on time tonight. First up, a couple of quick rifle rounds here. Kansas State got soaked by a bunch of Mormons on Saturday night. What they do? Holy shit, K-State. How the fuck? I was like this close to making a goddamn roast video of you, but I elected against it because I was sick. I wasn't in a position to royally roast your ass. But you went from up, what was it, like 6-3 near the end of the second quarter to throwing God knows how many interceptions, throwing basically the game away, and then BYU just goes on a tear on defense, on special teams, on offense. Their quarterback, Ratcliffe, finally woke the fuck up and had himself a day. Like, that was incredibly awesome to see. But like what Jim Can Swim is saying right here, they're overrated. Kansas State was definitely overrated, and they got a lot of growing to do, guys. Duck, we'll start with you.
Ugh. So yeah, you did mention turnovers because first quarter was like 6-3 at one point, but then it went down. It went so far south of there in Provo, Utah. With that scoop and score was definitely a huge shift in the momentum. It was one of 3 turnovers that K-State had that night. Of course, 2 fumbles from Kansas State. That one touchdown being the only one they lost, but 2 other interceptions to go along with it. That definitely did not help. But it was huge. This is a huge win for BYU because they're now at 4-0, and the Cougars are playing some high quality football against some top opponents, even though Kansas State is low key kind of overrated. But BYU has not allowed a touchdown in both games, like the last 2 games, I think it was. BYU has basically turned into a football powerhouse on its own right now. They're 4-0, and they're going to be playing against Baylor on FS1 at noon. And it should be a good one. Of course, Baylor's going to be playing pissed off after losing to Colorado, but BYU has shown that they can hang with the big guys in the Big 12. And I'm pretty excited to see what BYU could do because right now, the first quarter, first third, very good.
Alan?
39 seconds. Like that one Bills Chiefs playoff game, though those precious seconds are what define the game. All you had to do was get to halftime, and you couldn't fucking do it, and you couldn't recover in the second half, even though Kansas State got the ball to start the second half. So then they proceeded to throw another interception. So, yeah.
Not
That's
much
really
else
all that
really to
needs to be
say
said.
there. Yeah, it really is. Like it's BYU is pretty much in the driver's seat right now. Oklahoma State also lost on Saturday, so they are sitting pretty at 4-0 in the conference right now, looking pretty good. They have a lot of question marks. I think their quarterback is he had a good game, but he's still pretty unproven. Their defense is pretty good, so it's going to keep them in a lot of games. It's a damn sight better than what you see out of the old school Big 12, a team with the defense. But we'll see.
Yeah.
We will see. I kind of actually spoiled it, but the Knowles and the Gators won this weekend. Delayed, I think Napier getting firing by at least another week in Florida. The Gators taking down Mississippi State and Stark Vegas rather easily, I would say. They finally started playing like a team that actually gave a fuck. Florida State, on the other hand, no, they won, but good Lord, it was the ugliest of wins. Like I went back and I watched highlights today, um, because I was thinking about making another episode about the Doak Burns because I was still on the fence about it. But I mean, good Lord, I don't know what else I can add to this game other than just saying Cal is just not a good football team. Like they were 3-0 and shocked that they were 3-0. And they couldn't get the fucking ball moving against Florida State at all. Florida State just survived. Their offense had a flash of brilliance late in the fourth quarter with a deep touchdown pass to the end zone, and then they had another touchdown in the first quarter of the game. It was like Ireland all over again. Only they couldn't kick the fucking ball neither. Alan,
Um, sorry, Ian. Well, I mean, Cal had beaten Auburn. That's probably, I think, the most notable win so far up until now. But yeah, I mean, Florida State, Florida and Florida State are just delaying the inevitable for both of their head coaches. I love how the chat is saying SMU is going to destroy Florida State. They probably will. I'd be
Possibly.
shocked if they don't. But DJU goes 16 for 27 with a TD and an INT, and then he gets sacked 3 times. Again, only 16 of 27. Good Lord.
Yeah. Keep in mind, DJU was selected as the #1 prospect over CJ Stroud. No, they're not going to live that down. But you mentioned Florida State's terrible offense. At least the defense bailed them out. They recorded 7 sacks against California. And that's many of the reasons why Florida State was able to pull off a 14-9 win. They even got an interception off of Fernando Mendoza. And yeah, Florida State, at least one side of the ball came together. The other needs to rethink retool a little bit. As for Florida, I don't have the notes up for them, but I mean, you did get a win. Like, what do you want? A cookie? Like, what do you guys want? Because if you saw tweets from Scooter, those are the only notes that you need, basically. He's pretty much already written that whole season as a loss. And, yeah, I just don't see anything going on for Florida. You got the win at Stark Vegas, but what else can you say?
I think the one thing that I would like to point out about the game going into this Saturday between FSU and SMU, a couple of things. Number one, for SMU's sake, they are going to be playing at home in Dallas. That crowd is going to be loud. It's going to be the biggest game played in that stadium, in Gerald Ford Stadium, in a very long time for the Stangs. So they're going to have some home field advantage. We saw earlier before the stream that Alan pointed out to me that SMU opened up as a 5-point favorite, 5.5-point favorite over Florida State going into this game, which in a sense I don't think anybody would have been saying a month ago. SMU, on the other hand, has been quite fraudulent at times. They did nearly lose to Nevada to open the season. They then kind of ran into a brick wall known as BYU the week after that. They are 2-1, so they are doing what they can do here. But the quarterback play has been rather dodgy at times to start the season. Preston Stone has not looked good at times for SMU. I think he was benched at one point against BYU, if I recall correctly. I don't know if he played last weekend or not. I wasn't quite following the activity of the SMU ball club. But that game against Florida State, that's going to be a really big one for SMU. If it's going to be, a real test for them to see if they really fucking belong. They were one of the top teams in the American when they left. They got curb stomped by Boston College in the Fenway Bowl. Do they come out and you know smack Florida State in the mouth and show off what it's like to play against a real team? I don't know. I think it's going to ultimately depend on how well their quarterback can play at this point. Now, moving right along now to James Madison 70, North Carolina 50. Wait, it's football still. I promise. Uh,
Oh my God, this is
oh my Lord! And this was in Chapel Hill. Keep in mind, James Madison was paid money to come to UNC
I
to
have
get
all of
their
that.
asses whipped.
I
Alan,
have all of that. As Red completely dies. But I have the money. So here's the thing. For the Win reported that North Carolina paid James Madison University $10,000 per point scored. Let me repeat that. Per point scored. They dropped 70. That's $700,000. But wait, there's more because North Carolina paid about $1,149 per yard allowed against James Madison. But that's 609 yards given up. Now the Tar Heels had 616, but still. They also paid $23,333 per each of its 30 first downs, which was more than the Dukes. They paid $140,000 per turnover to James Madison. And they paid about $58,333 per Duke's penalty. By the way, North Carolina, they turned the ball over 5 times, but I'm not going to do the whole Booker T thing, but you get the
Yeah,
point.
don't even do that.
And as for the penalties, James Madison finished with 12 penalties for 105 yards, notably more than the Tar Heels 8 for 71. Holy fucking shit. It's one thing to pay a team straight up just to play you. But it's another thing to pay not only to play you, but for specific parameters, and you get your asses kicked. Cue the Shane McMahon, because here comes the money. What the fuck?
So that's why the score looked funny at halftime. 'Cause
oh man,
talking-
Doc.
I mean, now that Alan mentioned it, it makes a hell of a lot more sense now, because if you look at the halftime score, it was 53-21. Yeah. Not even, yeah, Cumberland College says hi, because holy fuck. I mean, the total yards, it was very close. 611, 616. It was it was like a huge air show going on down there in Chapel Hill. And the turnovers, they were so egregious. I'm surprised North Carolina scored 50 points considering they turned the ball over 5 times. And
I mean, yeah, James Madison definitely let off the gas a little
James
too early in
Madison.
that one.
Yeah, the game went off the rails. I'm like, holy shit, how is James Madison scoring that much? I mean, I know they're now that I hear the incentives, but holy fuck. Yeah, if I was playing under those incentives, hell yeah, I'd be trying to score more than 100 points. Absolutely.
Are those confirmed incentives? I thought those were just like figures you mentioned, like because
No,
James Madison
that's
got
For
paid
the
this
Win
money,
reported that
UNC,
shit.
what?
For the Win reported that's what they were. By the way,
That's the
so I just
dumbest
pulled
fucking
up the
contract I've ever heard in
stats.
my life.
Yeah, so
It
I
is.
just pulled up the stats. Their Jay Madison's quarterback, Alonzo Barnett III, 22 of 34, 388, 5 TDs, sacked twice. Also ran 13 times for almost 100 yards. They gave up and 2 touchdowns. His longest was a 38-yard run. Mind you, Jay Madison gave up a 48-yard run to North Carolina's top running back, but their quarterback, Jacoby Griswell, went 28 for 38 for 475, 3 TDs, 2 interceptions, and got sacked 3 times.
That's a lot of damage, isn't it, Matt?
Their
That's
top
a lot of damage.
Their top receiver was Omarion Dollison for James Madison. 3 receptions, 125 yards, with a touchdown. His longest reception, 69 nice yards.
Yes.
Cam Ross had the most receptions at 7 for 107, with a longest of 42 yards and a TD. And then Cam Ross had a kick return for 32. Had 1 kick return for 32 yards. Terrence Betts had 1 punt return for 28 yards.
We
And
get the
just
point, man. We get the fucking point. Like this,
Yeah.
these
what the
stats are an
fuck?
abs. This game was on crack. Let's just not mince any more words about it. This game was on all the hard fucking drugs, all of them. You got crack, you got heroin, you got your cocaine, you got your methamphetamine, you got the fucking fentanyl, a little bit of weed to slow you down, a little bit of speed to pick you back up. It was all over the goddamn place. It was a drug addict's dream because it was an acid trip. This whole
Somebody
fucking
get the
thing.
fucking Narcan. Good
May it
lord.
never happen again. Fucking hell. My God. I saw that score. I'm like that can't be real. Like there's no fucking there's no universe. Mac Brown nearly retired because of this loss, by the way. I saw that in an article. He
Yeah,
actually told his players he was considering retiring and he had to come out and was like, no, I'm not retiring. He honestly should have.
Mhm.
Now we're approaching the end of the show. And normally this is where we would talk about what we're looking forward to the most in week 5. But honestly, I don't think I thought about putting up the slide. I don't think there's any other game that's worth really talking about this weekend except for one. Dogs against the Tide. The SEC matchup that I think everybody has been salivating over since scheduling was announced last season at the end of during the offseason. This is going to be it's number 2 in the nation, Georgia, against number 4 in the nation, Alabama. Kickoff is a 7:30 start time on ABC on Saturday nights. Duck, what do you think's going to happen?
First, before I say my thoughts, I have a question.
Go
Can
ahead.
they both lose?
I wish. Ties are no longer a thing.
But yeah, number 2 and number 4, Georgia and Bama, rematch of last year's SEC championship. The main reason, Alabama, the main reason why Georgia is not currently the national champions right now. But I'm very excited for this matchup. It's going to be a battle down there in Tuscaloosa. You got now you got a new head coach for Alabama. And of course, Kirby Smart doing Kirby Smart things. And they're going to be playing pissed off after basically underachieving against Kentucky and still winning. And I am looking forward to this matchup. I expect some fireworks in the rain down there in Tuscaloosa.
Alan?
I mean, again, this is the game that if you're in the SEC and you're playing one of these two teams, or hell, if you're playing both of them, you need to be paying attention to this game big time. Georgia, you guys almost lost to fucking Kentucky last week. You should have lost to fucking Kentucky last week. Let's be real. Or actually, no, 2 weeks ago because you just came off a bye week. And you're lucky that you had that bye week because Carson Beck may have gotten injured at the end of the Kentucky game, but he had a week off, so he's good, presumably. Alabama, either way, you need to take advantage. You need to take what you saw in the Kentucky game and fucking apply that with a better team in you to beat Georgia. Because if you do that, because Georgia is beatable. Georgia is a very beatable team. And, if you guys don't do it, then you're leaning that on Texas to do it later this season. Do you really
Instead, it
want
could be
that?
number 1 versus number 2.
Pretty much.
So, man, like, spoiler alert, I'm probably going to stream this game Saturday for obvious reasons. So make sure y'all come back here Saturday night and I'll do commentary for the game. That said, fuck, dude, this is an immovable object against the immovable force. You know what I mean? The irresistible force against the immovable object. You got Georgia, won national championships 2 out of the last 3 years. Alabama, the dynasty, now without its captain, Nick Saban. Both teams had a really fraudulent week 3. Alabama nearly choked against South Florida again. Georgia totally shat their pants in Lexington at Kroger Field and nearly lost that game. So we've seen already by both these teams that, hey, they could kind of have some weak spots here. And if you ask me, I think Georgia's the more complete team. I think they're the better team than Alabama. And I think the fact that Saban is not coaching Alabama is finally going to catch up with Georgia. I'm sorry, going to catch up with them. And Georgia's going to get the win here, setting up a 1 versus 2 in-season matchup between Texas and Georgia in a few weeks, barring any crazy changes happening between one of those two teams. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that that's an absolute possibility. I think it's going to be an absolute slugfest in the trenches. I know Zep says something like, I can see Alabama challenging 70 to 50 on the score. No, they both got great defenses. They both play really, really well defending the ball. It's going to be a battle of the trenches. It's going to be a ground and pound. It's going to be a war, an absolute war. It's probably going to be decided by a field goal or less. And it's probably not, no team's probably going to score more than 21 points. If I was going to bet. But if you're asking me my take on it, I think the Dogs will take this one. It's going to be a tough fight, man. It's going to be a real tough fight. So, with that said, Alan, anything you want to plug?
Nothing. Mostly just you know where to find me. YouTube, Twitter, all that fun shit. Thank you for having me on. I do appreciate it. Hope we do this again next week or in the future. Whenever the fuck Akbar decides to get back from coping, molding, and seething about the Oklahoma Sooners. You are coping and seething.
All right, Doc. You got anything to plug, my friend?
So of course, tune in tomorrow on Illogical Canadians channel as me and Red will be reviewing week 3 of his fantasy football league. And of course, on Thursday, I won't be streaming, but it is going to be my 24th birthday, and I'm going to be joining Illogical Canadian for that whenever I get back from like a birthday dinner or something. And look for a Steelers versus Colts preview on either Friday or Saturday. And of course, join me on Sunday for Steelers and Colts. Should be a good time.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and do a couple of things. First off, get rid of this stupid son of a bitch. Second off, happy birthday to Duck. Everybody say happy early birthday to Duck.
Happy early birthday.
Happy early birthday, my friend.
Also, what comment did I just miss?
Don't worry about it. It's not worth your time. No. You don't waste your time. Now, As always, you know where to find me. It's on this channel. Working on a video, working on a couple of things as usual, trying to poke around and make some entertaining comment. Time's my biggest enemy right now. But Saturday, we will be here going live as we broadcast the Georgia Bulldogs against the Alabama Crimson Tide. We'll be doing commentary, play-by-play for that game, and we'll see how that goes. But for now, that's all I have. Thank you again to Alan and Duck for joining us tonight for this stream. Thanks to all of you all for watching. If you like what we're doing here, please feel free to comment, like, and subscribe. I don't just do live streams. I do actual YouTube videos as well about damn near anything you can think of and shit you probably can't think of. So thanks very much, and we will see everybody soon. Have a good week, all of you crazy bastards.
Take care, everyone.